Hey yo, what's up? It's me, Marco, again. And in this one, I had a job interview yesterday, and it was at 10:30, and my alarm went off at 8, but I didn't wake up until 9:40, and so I woke up. I went to bed really late. I went to bed like at 2. I was so tired. I felt a little nauseous, and I was like, shit, I'm running late. So I was also very anxious. But I got up after another like 4 minutes and I have to take a shower. And that doesn't sound bad, but I don't have a water heater. So I take cold showers every day. Not because I'm built different or resilient. It's because I literally can't. I literally can't have warm water. And so, one of the ways I live my life is by thinking mind over matter. And so, if I can just put myself in a correct state of mind, nothing can get under my skin. And so, that's what I do. In the I need to hype myself up, which is what I'm saying. And I think this is really real. Try hyping yourself up more often. I threw on graduation while I was gonna take a shower. And so it's freezing. It's so cold, and I'm just hearing, "Uh, good morning." Ooh, doo And then in my head, I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm locked in. Mind over matter. I'm stronger than this cold water. And so, I take my shower. I get out. It's around like 9:55. I do my simple skincare. Just throw on some lotion. Um, Make sure you ain't stinky. Throw on that deodorant. I throw on a simple fit. I never throw on like business fits. I just throw on jeans and like a plain shirt. And so like mentally, I'm feeling good because of the music. I'm clean. I smell good. I'm ready. And it's because I feel ready, I kind of forget about all those other things of feeling nauseous, a little scared. I felt confident in my appearance and myself, and so I didn't feel bad. I was feeling good, and you gotta remember, I was running on very little sleep, I was running late, and I was stressed out a little bit. But because of the music and just trying to get my head in the right state of mind, I was really feeling good this morning. I was hungry. I grabbed a granola bar, my water bottle, and my car keys. It was around a 25-minute drive, and I was just bumping Kanye Graduation. It was awesome. I was singing along to the part in Stronger where he's like, "You should be honored by my lateness, that I would even show up to this fake shit." And this is really real, Brent, because like, how many applications have you put in? How many interviews have you already did? Like, this is a game, and you're showing up anyway, so you should be honored by it because you're putting in the work. So be on your shit. Be prideful of yourself. And I really think once you find your music, it really helps bring this out. I love it because I'm not drinking. You know, drinking gives you courage as well. Smoking loosens you up as well. But when I'm just listening to music, it's just my mental high that I'm the shit. That I convince myself in that moment that I'm good enough. And music has that power in it. And so once you find your music, I really like Kanye. I really like the line, if you're a fan of Kanye, you're a fan of yourself. And I really do think about that, the way he talks. It's a lot where you can relate with him. And regardless of his bullshit, no one cares about that. Everyone's a joke in this day and age, but I don't let that negativity affect me. I just see the good. I can get what I need from this music, and that's to empower myself. And you see this with everything. If you listen to sad music, that sad music is increasing your sadness. So this shit's real. Okay, so I'm running late. I got around like 2 minutes before 10:30, and I pull up, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go exactly because it's a huge like distribution place. And I see this other lady walking into a door, or the door I was walking in. So I opened the door for her, and we were waiting in this small little corridor where it's like you had to get checked in to go in. And she's like, "You're here for an application?" I was like, "Yeah." And then she says something like "good luck" or something, and I take a seat, and I realize it's for the opposite establishment I was supposed to be applying to. So so my house went, "Oh," and I got up, I walked outside, drove into my car, and drove to the next lot. And I got in, I made it. Somehow I was around like 10 minutes late. And so I'm just waiting in the lobby, and there's no one at the reception, but in the back I can hear two girls. They were just yapping about TikTok. I don't know what they were saying, but they were yapping, and I didn't want to just like knock or be like, "Excuse me," so I kind of just sat there and waited for a minute, pushed the door. I'm not gonna lie, I went out, or I pushed the door so it would make like the noise sound, and I walked around a little bit just so they would know I was there. And so like after 5 minutes, or not even, after like 2 minutes, some lady comes out and she's asking me why I was there. I told her I had an interview, asked me my name, and this middle-aged white guy comes out and he's like, "Hello," and he tells me his name. And I really tried to consciously remember his name, so I was like, "Oh, hi," and then I repeated his name back to him. So I think that's another step, is say their name to them. At least you can acknowledge that you know their name. Which you would be surprised, because I don't know any of my previous managers' names. So if you can at least say it in the moment, I think it would add a lot to whoever's trying to hire you. And this is kind of where we get to step two, is you gotta learn how to read the room. You gotta be CNC. If you watch the previous video, those who know, you gotta be CNC, conscious and consistent. If you're conscious and consistent, you will get places. And so that's why I'm letting you know that I was making these notes that these two ladies were being unprofessional at the moment, that this guy is a middle-aged white man, so I know inherently he's probably going to be more Republican, see more virtuous views, and like respect and courtesy and, old dude behaviors. And so these are mental notes. And of course, you got to realize most of this is happening at a subconscious level, where it's like, "Oh, I see that. Oh, I see this." And that's where it also comes to reading a room. You can read people, but you can also read your environment. When I went into this room, before we went in, I shook his hand. Make sure you have a firm handshake. It doesn't have to be anything gradual. Don't overthink it. Just hand, shake. Eyes. Make sure you're looking at eyes. Another thing too, eyes is huge. Always be making eye contact. You don't got to be a weirdo about it, but look them in the eyes. Don't be afraid to look at them in the eyes while you talk and express yourself. That's mainly where I get it, is when you're the one talking. Then you can really exemplify your eye contact, because then they're the ones listening to you and they'll feel more uncomfortable, which is why you feel uncomfortable as you're the interviewee, so then you can put the other person in the same position. And so I'm barely walking into this room and I'm observing this large table, a bunch of seats. I'm assuming they have team meetings here. I see on a desk there's Fallout bobblehead and like some gaming references. I see on the wall it's like a charter of the place. And so I'm barely walking in and I'm making notes of all of these things. So always be very observant. When you look at details, you see a lot of things people overlook. Anyways, we both take a seat, and he starts to go on and tell me about he doesn't really take late interviews, but he has some time. And in my head, instead of being like, "Oh, I'm grateful," I'm like, "Bullshit. You were waiting for me the last 10 minutes in this room because that's the room you came out of 5 minutes ago to get me out or to pull me in. So you got to remember, if you can see the power plays, the dynamics, they can't affect you. I didn't let his power leveraging that his time is more valuable break my spirit because I was still feeling confident in myself. And you got to remember the point of the interview is you got to sell yourself. And so you have to be in that egotistical mind frame that you are worth it and you have to sell your worth, which sounds fucked up, but that's what a job is. You're exchanging your time for money, which is meaningless at the end of the day, but we all need it. And I think this goes back to being CNC again, where you have to be conscious and consistent. When you keep expanding your minds, you're going to start seeing these things. Like, to me, think of it as Fallout. In like Fallout, you have to level up your luck, your intelligence, your strength, and life is really just the same. And it sounds fucked up, but you need to level up your intelligence and very specifically because when you level up your intelligence in specific ways, you'll start to see through lies and be better at persuading people and just being more confident in your own voice to speak up, which really plays into the consistency part. When you consistently do something, that fear, anxiety slowly goes down. This is probably around my fifth interview. They're still very nerve wracking. This is the opportunity between me and having a job for the next year or so. And so these do have pressures on you. And that's why you have to learn to build your armor. And for me, that's confidence. That's being egotistical in myself by playing Kanye, by seeing through bullshit, by wanting to level up my mind so I can see through all the ranks of it all. But, anyways, after he said all of that, I said, well, thanks for waiting on me. I got lost. I went to the wrong store and I laughed and I joked about it. And he was like, yeah, things happen. It's all right. So I basically clear myself from feeling any type of guilty consciousness for being late because he didn't even care. He said it was okay. So don't put those imaginary boundaries on yourself. What I really like about this too is since I messed up, it gave me an opportunity to show him how I react when I mess up. And when I mess up, I kind of owned up to it and moved on. And that's pretty much the greatest thing you can do in an interview is when you're in an interview, you if they can see you as a human, if they can relate to you, if they see you as a cool person, then they like you. And if they like you, they'll hire you. So you have to relate to them or get them to like you somehow. But anyways, he goes over my resume. He asks me about my education, my work history. I tell him about both. I go into specific details that really showed leadership, confidence, um, parts of my job where I did similar things or cooler things. Like when I told him I've dispensed oil before, like he kind of like went, oh, like when he was writing down, and it's just you gotta make yourself stand out a little bit. And another thing, I was very enthusiastic about this. I gesture with my hands, I'm looking him in the eyes, and I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about, even though I'm riffing it pretty much. And so, anyways, he starts going on about the description of the job, what I would be doing. And as he's telling me these things, I ask questions during this. I interrupted him once, and then he kind of gets the idea of like, I am enthusiastic. I'm going to ask questions. I ask questions about like the following programs and where positions I can get to. I'm trying not to be too specific about where I was applying to. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard. Anyways, he asked me about my availability, if I prefer team or solo work, a few questions, and as we were finishing up, when he's like, any questions, comments, or concerns, I was just jokingly like, yeah, I really hoped you consider me for this position. And then it was kind of funny. It was like I activated his trap card or something. He had like that cheeky smile. And he was like, "Why do you think I should hire you?" And my mind kind of panics for a second. And I'm like, "Oh shit, I can't think of anything." And then I'm like, "Well, I think you should hire me because..." And then I think of those two girls out there who were distracted and not paying attention. And then so I reflected that on me. I flipped it on me where I was like, um, I am very attentive. And then I said some stuff about how people are not really as attentive to things and dedicated and diligent to their work. And I think even though it is a basic things, it is something that we don't really see a lot in this generation or in this age. I forgot what I said. I said something corny, and so I ended it with that I'm attentive, respectful, and diligent, and that's the best I can give you. And it was a little corny. And remember, you make those eye contacts, gesturing hands, and this is what I really mean. You really are selling yourself. This man literally told me, sell me this pencil type of question. But anyways, the guy kind of smiles. We chuckle, blah blah blah. Any other questions? No. We kind of both get up, and as we're walking out, I don't remember why, but it threw me off. He asked me, "So, do you have any, or like, what are your hobbies?" And I've never been asked this question in an interview, and I don't. It really threw me off because I haven't thought about this. It's like those like it felt like that SpongeBob meme when he's trying to search for his name. He's like, "What's the name? What's the name?" And I just couldn't think of anything I did, and so I was like, "Oh, I like hanging out with my friends," and I'm like, "Don't tell them I smoke weed. Don't tell them I smoke weed," and playing video games. And then once I said the video games, it kind of brought a spark to his eye as well. And then I said I saw like the Fallout bobblehead, and so then I turned this awkward kind of I didn't know what to say into a little conversation about video games. And then he walked me out, and I drove home, feeling like hell yeah. And I was listening to my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And so at the end of the day, I was late, I didn't know what to do or say, and I felt very unprepared. But I gotta say, that felt like the best interview I could have ever given, given the circumstances I was in. And so that's where you really just think of that. How do I make the best out of the circumstance I am in? Now, to recap, pretty much just remember CNC. Conscious and consistent. Be conscious about the decisions you make daily and be consistent about the decisions you want to make. Constantly improve yourself slowly. You will better your craft no matter what it is. And even if I don't get hired, I left that interview feeling more confident in myself than ever before, and I feel like I can do another 100 interviews and be okay. So have that faith in yourself, believe in yourself, and you got it. Get that job. Good luck.